Today, I'm going to teach you 3 deceptive left side spin serves that will make your opponent misread the spin more easily. Let's talk about the short left side spin serve. Why doesn't your opponent fall for it? Because your serving motion clearly signals whether it's backspin or topspin. Now, I want you to change 3 things. First, avoid raising your racket too high on the backswing. If your contact point is too early in that upward motion, you'll inevitably serve a backspin ball. So, for short serves, I want you to bring your forearm back. Don't open up your upper arm too much. Bring your forearm back slightly. A small upward movement is okay, but it absolutely cannot be excessive. You need to disguise your motion. If you bring the racket up, any early contact will result in a clear sidespin backspin, which the opponent can easily read. Second point, I need your racket angle to be more consistent. The current problem is that your racket face is too open for backspin and too vertical for sidespin topspin. Try to keep your racket angle neutral for all short sidespin serves. This means your racket face shouldn't be too open, flat, or too closed, vertical. Aim for a neutral angle. Whether it's sidespin backspin or sidespin topspin, try to keep the racket angle identical. Third point, how do we differentiate between topspin and backspin? Watch my racket head closely. A downward snap with explosive force. That's backspin. After the backswing, avoid a visible brushing motion with your arm, as that gives away the spin. Once you reach a higher level and can use fake outs, this becomes less of an issue. So what do? Keep your wrist firm and push forward. Watch me, wrist firm, push forward. If your opponent tries to push this ball, it will pop up. Keep the racket vertical, don't brush, and push forward. It looks like a backspin serve. If they push it, the ball will either be a high ball or go off the table. As long as you don't rotate the racket head, the ball you serve will have topspin. The overall feeling of the motion is a forward push. Your backswing and brushing motion should be identical to your sidespin backspin serve. One method involves snapping the racket head down, that's for backspin. The other involves keeping the racket head stable and pushing forward, still in a downward motion, that's for topspin. For the penhold grip, this motion is backspin, and this one is topspin. This type of topspin isn't the kind where you overtly hook the ball upwards. But if the opponent pushes it, it will still pop up high, giving you a chance to attack. The problem now is that your topspin serve is too obvious, so your opponent will likely flick or counter topspin it. The first type, backspin, is when you use the racket head to brush the ball on contact. The second type, topspin, is when you keep the racket head, angle, and face stable and use your arm to push it forward. I'll do it in slow motion. Watch carefully, this is backspin. Now, the wrist doesn't rotate downwards. Bring the racket back, find the ball, and push from back to front. The racket is still pointing down, but the ball will have slight sidespin topspin. This makes it much harder for your opponent to distinguish between your serves. For this topspin serve, you don't need explosive force, racket head rotation, or an upward flick. Keep your wrist locked and use your forearm to push from back to front and slightly downwards. They'll push it high. It won't fly straight off the table, but it will pop up, giving you an opportunity to attack. This serve isn't a no-spin, it should be called a slight sidespin topspin. A half-spin serve usually has more backspin, while a true no-spin is just a simple contact push. We're not just making contact, we're actively pushing the ball forward. This is a match-quality serve. However, if you add that brushing motion, it becomes a backspin serve. Watch carefully, which one is backspin? 1, 2. Correct, the first one was sidespin backspin. Notice the second serve also had a downward motion, but this type of ball is what we call a light spin serve. And another kind of sidespin topspin serve needs a deceptive follow-through to be effective. But the method I just taught is highly deceptive, even if the spin variation isn't extreme. Second, I'll teach you how to serve the ball short. You can't just pat it short, you have to brush it short. After contact, don't stop your racket's motion. We tend to stop the follow-through moving forward, which is why the serve often goes long. You need to pull the racket back towards your body, as if you're pulling it into your stomach. Normally, we serve forward. Now, I want you to pull that motion back so the edge of the racket touches your stomach. Make sure the edge of your racket, not the head, touches your stomach. A forward follow-through makes the ball go long very easily. Building on that, rotate the racket back to touch your stomach. I've tried it and it works great. You can add more brush and use more force, and the serve will still stay short. Have the edge of the racket touch your stomach. This works for both sidespin topspin and sidespin backspin. This applies to penhold grip as well. This is how it's done. Touch your stomach. This trick is a game changer. You can't just stop the racket after contact. The follow-through is part of one continuous motion. The edge of the racket moves continuously towards your stomach. Let me teach you another killer serve. It's not very spinny, so a push will result in a high ball, setting you up for an attack. This is how you serve it. There's almost no spin. But let me tell you, this serve is difficult to flick and very easy to send out of bounds. First, I'll teach the no-spin version because it's simpler. You just need to twist the ball. When you twist the ball like this, avoid any brushing motion. Just rotate your forearm. This serve has absolutely no spin. If they push it, it will pop up high. So what if they try to flick it? Okay, I'll use the same motion. See? This is now backspin. Can you tell the difference with the same motion? Same motion, topspin. For penhold, it's served like this, with a bit of right side spin. Let's focus on the shakehand grip first. It's all about rotating the forearm. If you break down this move, the second part is a fake out. When you do it fluidly, the spin becomes very hard to read. So how do you do the spinny version? For the spinny version, while the no spin was just a rotation, the backspin involves a downward brush then the rotation. A quick downward brush followed by the rotation. That's backspin. No brush, just a direct rotation, results in topspin or no spin. Link the motions together smoothly. This ball has absolutely no spin. So when you're serving, if you add a small, explosive snap on contact, the ball will immediately have backspin. Use that small snap, then do the rotation to disguise your brushing action. A small snap and a rotation, this ball is spinny. If I omit that small snap and just rotate, the ball is no spin. You can't just serve no spin all the time. After a couple of tries, they'll attack it. Serve the first two with spin to make them push normally, then throw in a no spin. If they suddenly start to flick, switch back to a spinny serve. They'll be completely confused. Serve it short to their forehand, backhand, or the middle, and then prepare to attack their return. When serving this ball, use your normal grip for both penhold and shakehand. Don't use a specialized left side spin grip. Use your normal grip, the one you use during rallies. It should feel slightly similar to a hook serve grip. Because that final brushing motion requires an explosive snap, you need that subtle power in your hand. For many amateur players, a major pain point in matches is dealing with a half-long, sidespin topspin serve to the middle. The players who like to push will always try to push this serve, and the combined force will make the ball go long. And players who are good at attacking topspin tend to hit this serve too hard, also sending it out of bounds. So, everyone should practice this sidespin topspin serve to the middle. This kind of serve is awkward to return with both the backhand and forehand. And it must be sidespin topspin, because a sidespin backspin return is also quite tricky. How do you practice it? Let me show you. First, the first bounce has to land on the opponent's forehand side, near the center line. Then the second bounce, like the one I just served, must exit from the opponent's backhand side. The first bounce should be here, and it should exit from the backhand side, curving into the opponent's body. This makes it awkward for both their forehand and backhand. If they use a large backhand motion, it will go long. The first bounce is here, and it exits diagonally. Just like the serves I'm demonstrating now. In my opinion, for many sidespin topspin serves, we shouldn't show our hand so obviously. Meaning, don't serve like this. Your main focus should be deception. I'll push it a bit more forward, making it go sideways. I serve it with the primary goal of being deceptive. Does it look like a sidespin backspin? Next time you're in a match or practicing, focus on the serve, first bounce on the forehand side, second bounce curving into the body. Make this your primary sidespin topspin to practice. Use it often in matches and see how effective it is. Many players struggle with returns from the middle, especially half-long balls, because it's a part of the table that's rarely practiced. Additionally, for half-long balls, when a player can't quite reach it, they'll enlarge their swing, and a big swing against sidespin topspin will cause the ball to go out. So when we serve this middle sidespin topspin, we must focus on making it floaty and deceptive. Can you all serve a ball with this kind of curve? Alright, I'll teach you. Moving from back to front, with a vertical racket brushing the side of the ball, won't create much curve. Therefore, when you brush the ball, it must be at this angle, or this angle. See, from back to front, it curves. From back to side, it also curves. You have to brush it diagonally. For instance, from close to your body to far away, or from far away to close. If you just serve with a simple back to front left side spin motion, it won't curve much. I prefer the second method. Instead of a backswing close to the body, I open up the backswing and brush the ball sideways. Open up the backswing, brush sideways, and it will curve. This is also how you serve the side spin topspin we just discussed. Open up, and generate the brush sideways. This will make the ball curve. You want it to travel along this diagonal line. Or this diagonal line. Don't let the motion be purely longitudinal, front to back. It has to have an angle. Once you serve at an angle, the brush will create much more curve. Don't use a purely forward force. Fourth, the straight serve. To deceive your opponent and hide that you're serving down the line. After you contact and brush the ball, your follow-through motion must stay parallel to the end line. Look, I'll do a slow motion demonstration. Did you see that? Okay, I'll serve one. See how deceptive that is? It's very deceptive. I've tried it myself. When you serve down the line and you don't want your opponent to read it, your follow-through should not stop here. After contacting the ball, your arm must continue in a horizontal motion. That's what creates the deception. I'm serving short just to demonstrate the motion for you. When done fluidly, it looks like this. Why are you forcing the ball forward on the first bounce? The more you push forward, the more likely it is to hit the net. No matter how much power you use, the first bounce must be aimed towards your own end line. No matter how hard you hit, aim the first bounce here. You can't think about serving forward from the start, or it will definitely hit the net. When you try to serve fast and long, you start pushing forward. That's wrong. You must generate force towards your own end line. To serve long, direct your force toward the end line. Always ensure the first bounce is near your end line. Otherwise, in a match, what's hitting the net now will be a fault then. You're leaving so much space with your body. By sticking your hip out like that, everyone can see you're serving to the forehand. Your body must be positioned right up against the table. See, if I move my non-playing hand, I'm perfectly legal. But to serve a threatening straight ball, you must serve close to your body. The motion needs to be crisp and clean. Don't let the ball linger on the racket, as that slows it down. Think of it as a quick bang-bang rebound. 1, 2. It should feel like this, not like a slow brushing motion. Right now, you're brushing it, which makes the ball slow. Make it a sharp thwack. Got it? Make it sharp. The moment you touch the ball, use a quick flick-flick motion. See why it wasn't working before? Your motion was just too slow. In table tennis, every motion must have a breaking point, a sudden stop. That's the idea. Bang, bang, two distinct sounds. A da-da rhythm. If you do it this way, with a quick release from the racket, the ball speed will increase. Isn't that much faster? Don't try to hold the ball on the racket. Let me correct a common misconception. It's not about a long brushing motion to get more spin. See? That's no spin. Only an explosive snap at contact will generate heavy spin. See, a quick snap. A long, forceful brushing motion won't create much spin. Use that explosive snap, and the ball will spin heavily. It all comes down to the speed of your racket at the point of contact. For example, this is no spin. This has some spin. And this is heavy, heavy spin. The problem is that your motion at the point of contact is too slow. Your downward forearm, arm, and brushing actions are too slow. You have to utilize that explosive snap at the moment of contact. The same applies to the hook serve. Why do so many people's hook serves have no spin? It's too slow. If you can do this, it becomes spinny. Stop trying to hold the ball on the racket with a long brushing motion. To get good friction, the faster your motion is at the point of contact, the more spin you'll get. A slow, constant speed brush will only produce a mediocre, predictable backspin. Let me explain this flick-flick motion a bit more. Watch me use just my upper arm. Not much spin, right? Now with the forearm. A bit more spin. Now with that quick flicking motion. You can immediately see it's spinny. The flick-flick motion. You need to feel that sensation, a quick snap-snap. Accelerating in the opposite direction. That snap at the last moment, see? That looks spinny. Don't use a slow, continuous brushing motion. You can practice that for ages and it still won't be spinny. Many players who come to our training have a good serving form, but their opponents still don't misread it. Why? It's because while your framework is correct, your motion is too slow. Similarly, if it's slow, they can push it back easily. A bit faster, and the ball starts to pop up a little. Even faster, and if they try to push it, it will fly off the table. The issue is the speed of your upward or downward motion at the exact moment of contact is insufficient. Why isn't your serve spinny? It's not that your technique is wrong, it's that your power isn't focused. Why do I tell you to buy hand grippers? First, to build hand strength. Then, to increase the speed of that strength. Power alone isn't enough, you also need frequency and speed. The more focused your power is at the moment of contact, the more spin you will get. It's the same principle for looping. If I'm slow, there's no spin. Same brushing motion, but fast and focused, the ball flies. I practice this focus every single day. The specific arm motion isn't that important. You can serve sidespin backspin like this, or like this. It doesn't really matter. There's really no single standard for the motion. Just focus on building strength, then speed, in your hand. And you will definitely develop a great serve.